In a small village in West Africa, something unprecedented happened. Within 10 years, nearly every family had changed their faith. In the jungles of South America, missionaries arrived where no roads existed, and entire communities transformed. Right now, at this very moment, over 74,000 young people are walking the streets of foreign lands with one mission: to convert the world. This is the story of the most organized religious expansion in modern history, and the numbers will surprise you. Welcome back to Missionary, where we explore the untold stories shaping our world's faiths and cultures. Today, we're examining a phenomenon that's quietly reshaping the religious landscape of entire nations: the global missionary movement of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, commonly known as the Mormon Church. Now, before we begin, I want to be clear. This is not about promoting or criticizing any faith. This is about understanding a remarkable organizational achievement: how one religious movement has managed to achieve growth rates that historians call unprecedented in modern times. If you're interested in thoughtful explorations of world religions and the forces shaping belief across continents, I invite you to subscribe to Missionary. We approach these topics with respect, depth, and curiosity. So what makes these missionary efforts so effective? And where in the world is this growth actually happening? Let's dive into 5 remarkable stories that reveal the answer. Our first story takes us to Benin, a small West African nation wedged between Togo and Nigeria. In 1995, the LDS Church had a minimal presence there. What happened next defies typical patterns of religious conversion. Within just 1 decade, 10 years, LDS membership in Benin grew by 605%. Let that sink in for a moment. Not 60%, not 160%, 605%. To put this in perspective, this means that for every one Mormon in Benin in 1995, there were 7 by 2005, in a region where Islam and Christianity had been established for centuries. What caused this? The answer lies in something missionaries call the ground game. Unlike large evangelical crusades or media campaigns, LDS missionaries work through a methodical, person-to-person approach. They learn the local language, not just basic phrases, but fluency. They live in the communities. They serve. But here's the twist most people don't know. The real breakthrough in Benin came when the church began training local leaders rather than importing American ones. Young Beninese men and women became missionaries in their own country. They understood the culture, the family structures, the unspoken social codes, and that changed everything. By 2015, Benin had gone from one of the smallest LDS populations in Africa to one of the fastest growing. What do you think drives people to change their ancestral faith? Is it the message or the method? Share your thoughts in the comments. Now let's travel to the Amazon basin, remote regions where some villages can only be reached by river. In the 1980s and 90s, Mormon missionaries began venturing into areas so isolated that government officials rarely visited. These weren't comfortable assignments: malaria, poisonous wildlife, language barriers that made simple conversation nearly impossible. Yet something extraordinary happened in these places. One particularly striking account comes from a village in the Peruvian Amazon. Missionaries arrived to find a community that had never seen outsiders in decades. They had their own spiritual traditions, their own way of life. The missionaries didn't arrive with demands. They arrived with help. They helped build wells. They taught basic healthcare. They learned the indigenous language, something that took years, not months. And gradually, they shared their beliefs. Here's the unexpected part. Within 5 years, nearly 40% of that village had converted to the LDS faith. Not through pressure. Not through promises of material wealth. The explanation given by village elders was simple but profound. They stayed when others left. This pattern, this commitment to long-term presence, repeated itself across dozens of jungle communities. And this raises a fascinating question. In an age of instant communication and digital evangelism, why would this old-fashioned, face-to-face approach still work? Think about that. Have you ever changed your mind about something because someone simply stayed? Let me know in the comments. The Philippines represents something different, perhaps the most successful mission field in Mormon history. With over 800,000 members today, the Philippines has the 3rd largest LDS population outside the United States. But the story of how this happened reveals something about the nature of belief itself. The LDS Church first sent missionaries to the Philippines in 1961. The Philippines was, and remains, predominantly Catholic, a legacy of Spanish colonialism. Converting Catholics to any other Christian denomination is notoriously difficult. Yet within 60 years, the LDS Church built one of its strongest international communities there. The twist? It wasn't about arguing theology. Mormon missionaries in the Philippines focused on something the Catholic Church, despite its centuries of presence, had struggled with: personal attention to poor and rural families. In remote provinces, missionaries would hike for hours to reach a single family. They'd return week after week. They'd help with farming. They'd sit with the sick. They'd bring food during typhoons. And here's what sociologists have noted. In a culture where pakikisama, communal harmony and personal relationship is central, this approach was devastatingly effective. The message was important, yes, but the relationship came first. Today, the Philippines sends out more Mormon missionaries than any country except the United States. Former converts become the most passionate recruiters. This creates a self-sustaining cycle. One generation's converts become the next generation's missionaries. And that model, that's what's now being exported to Africa, to Latin America, to the Pacific Islands. Let's look at the broader West African story, because Benin is just one piece of a larger puzzle. Ghana and Nigeria, the region's two most populous nations, have seen similarly remarkable growth. In Ghana, LDS membership has grown from virtually zero in the 1970s to over 90,000 today. In Nigeria, despite religious tensions and government restrictions on missionary work, the church now has over 180,000 members. What's happening here? Three factors emerge. First, the LDS Church invests heavily in education. They build schools, they provide scholarships. In regions where education is the primary path to economic mobility, this matters immensely. Second, family structure. The LDS emphasis on strong nuclear families, abstinence from alcohol, and community support resonates in cultures already oriented toward communal living and family honor. Third, and this is the surprising one, the church's hierarchical organization appeals in contexts where traditional tribal and family hierarchies still function. It's not chaos. It's structure, it's order, it's clear expectations. And for communities navigating rapid modernization, that structure can feel like stability. But here's a thought I'll leave with you. When we see religious conversion on this scale, is it about theology at all? Or is it about meeting needs, social, economic, psychological, that existing structures weren't addressing? That's not a criticism. It's a question worth pondering. What's your take? Comment below. Our final story takes us to the Pacific Islands, where something almost unbelievable has occurred. Tonga and Samoa have the highest per capita Mormon populations on Earth. In Tonga, an estimated 60% of the population identifies as LDS. In Samoa, it's over 40%. Think about that. In these island nations, being Mormon isn't unusual. It's mainstream. How did this happen? The LDS Church first sent missionaries to the Pacific in the 1840s and 50s. But the real transformation came in the 20th century, when the church began building temples, schools, and community centers. In small island communities where resources are scarce, these institutions became the center of life. The church didn't just offer spiritual guidance, it offered infrastructure. But here's the cultural twist. Polynesian culture traditionally values large, interconnected family systems and communal decision-making. When a chief or family elder converted, often entire extended families would follow. This wasn't coercion. It was cultural logic. The family moves together. Today, Tongans and Samoans make up a disproportionate number of Mormon missionaries worldwide. A small population, punching far above its weight in spreading the faith. And this raises our final question. Is religious conversion ever truly individual? Or are we always products of our communities, our families, our social networks? So, we've journeyed from West Africa to the Amazon, from the Philippines to the Pacific Islands. We've seen how 74,000 missionaries, armed with nothing but organization, persistence, and a willingness to serve, have reshaped the religious map of the world. Love it or question it, this is one of the most successful missionary movements in modern history. And understanding how it works, the strategies, the human stories, the cultural dynamics tells us something profound about how belief spreads in our world. It's not always about the grand sermon, sometimes it's about who shows up, who stays, who listens. Here's my final thought for you. In examining these stories, we're not asking you to agree or disagree with Mormon theology. We're asking you to think deeply about the nature of belief itself. What makes someone change their faith? What makes a movement grow? And in our fragmented modern world, what does this kind of organizational success teach us? If this video made you think, if it showed you something you didn't know, I ask you to subscribe to Solvany. We explore these questions, the big questions about faith, culture, and human nature, with the respect and depth they deserve. And please, share your thoughts in the comments. This is a conversation, not a lecture. What surprised you most? What do you think drives religious conversion in the 21st century? Thank you for watching. Until next time, stay curious, stay thoughtful, and stay open to the stories shaping our world.